I got rights to talk, bro.
You got no right here.
I do.
Illegal, brother.
Get on the ground.
That's not how you arrest me.
Get on the ground. Now, on the ground.
All right, but you're not.
On the ground.
Dragged off the streets in chains. That's what Trump's new ICE task force promised in Portland, and that's exactly what the states are seeing right now. Federal vans sweeping in, protesters screaming that they had rights, only to be told they didn't. And while Pam Bondi is bragging that Trump will make cities safe again and clean again, Portland is learning what that really means. Nightly ambushes, tear gas, and bodies slammed into the pavement. But here's the part no one was ready for. These weren't random busts. Let's break it all down.
I've got First Amendment rights and you can't take them away. No matter how many times you brutalize this community, no matter how many times you beat my face in the ground, I will not shut the up.
By August, the scene outside the Portland ICE facility looked like a standoff from another country. First, crowds gathered. Then, they put their tents there, announcing they weren't backing down. And the more cameras they pulled out, the more aggressively the agents started charging. One man yelled that federal officers were trespassing.
What are you even doing? This is not federal property. That's across the street. That is city property. Like, y'all are in violation of the permit of your working orders, right? Like, y'all can and will be sued.
It didn't matter though. In the eyes of ICE, it was a little too late for respecting boundaries.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah? I can't hear you. Take your mask off.
After a few more taunts from the man, an ICE agent pepper sprayed him in the face. And it didn't end here. The spray obviously caused a reaction, which caused an even bigger reaction. Yeah, and across the street, the same pattern repeated. A woman filming a teenager being arrested shouted through her phone, calling it excessive force.
I want people to know that this is a fascist takeover of DC, and that our youth are going to be directly impacted by this.
Her words barely landed before she too was shoved against a wall and cuffed. Even the influencers who thought their streams gave them cover weren't spared. The woman getting arrested was Tatiana Martinez, a Colombian national. She was live streaming the protests when a couple of ICE agents saw her, so they asked for documents to prove she was legally in the US. When she live streamed that, they shoved her to the ground and handcuffed her. Night after night, Portland became the testing ground. Pam Bondi's words from DC hit hard.
Hearing something slightly different from the White House as this all comes out only a couple of hours after President Trump said the federal government would not be leaving Portland until local leaders secure the city.
You hear all sorts of reports about us leaving. We're not leaving until they've secured their city. We told the governor, we told the mayor, secure your city. If they don't secure their city soon, we have no choice. We're going to have to go in and clean it out.
But in Portland, clean meant anyone on ICE's list could be dragged off in chains, because that was her directive in DC and everywhere else.
Tonight, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced she's handing power over of the Washington Police Department to the head of the Drug Enforcement Agency. It's part of the Trump administration's push on immigration and comes after the president deployed the National Guard in an effort to curb crime in that city.
Now, a question was starting to terrify locals. Who exactly was on the ICE list? The streets of Portland felt like chaos, but it turns out it was planned. Agents were working from dossiers, targeting names accused of doxing officers and inciting unrest. And when the list went live, Portland lit up. Remember Tatiana Martinez? Reportedly, she wasn't just arrested for live streaming the event or for looking Hispanic, even though many legal citizens with Hispanic roots claim this has become a common phenomenon.
We are a target for them because we know that they are stereotyping and they're racially profiling us, and they're targeting folks that look like me.
But this time, Martinez had apparently made a name for herself harassing agents online, publishing their addresses, and mocking them live. Plus, there was this.
An official from the Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that she was detained because of a prior DUI conviction.
She thought live streaming would protect her. Instead, she was pulled mid-recording. It was supposed to send a message. If influencers thought they could expose ICE agents to make them vulnerable, Trump's task force was ready to flip that spotlight. Their arrests seemed curated, and once Martinez's cuffs went viral, people understood. ICE will not be intimidated. They have a job to do.
ICE is, well, President Trump was very clear that he was going to work to remove those folks from our country. Americans elected him to do that.
And that's when Portland learned the worst part. The list wasn't stopping with frontline protesters. Next were the locals no one thought would ever be in chains. Tatiana Martinez was not a solo case of a local getting arrested violently. Soon, parents and pacifists were being pulled in too. In Portland, one father was stopped with his baby strapped in the back seat.
Go ahead and roll your window all the way down.
Why? What's going on?
Go ahead and roll your window all the way down.
I have a baby in the car.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
With the baby. Just roll your window all the way down.
Even his credentials didn't matter. Dr. Mahdi, a chiropractor living and working legally in Portland. The baby screamed as ICE agents ordered him to roll his window down. As Mahdi kept saying, "Please, my baby," the agents started breaking his car window to pull him out.
I'm getting out. I'm getting out. Well, you should have done it already. I told you 3 times.
Soon, a witness started filming the arrest from her phone too.
I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. I'm a Iranian.
This is not okay.
Then came the story that shocked Portland's activist community. Robert Hoops, a lifelong Quaker pacifist, known more for peace rallies than for violence, but the feds told another story.
This is new tonight. FBI agents used facial recognition software to link a photo in a news article to an assault suspect from a protest at the Portland ICE building.
The FBI dug even deeper, all the way to Robert's graduation photo.
Facial recognition software led agents to this picture from a Reed College photo album showing Robert Jacob Hopes, a recent Reed graduate and now a suspect.
His father stood outside the courthouse after his arrest, shocked at what had just happened.
He is a deeply gentle, loving spirit. I have no idea what he has been accused of, but this is a child that you would trust your children with immediately.
Dozens of people came with him. They even made signs. Support free speech. Release Jacob. To ICE, it didn't matter though. They had his face, his gas mask, even his tattoo.
That same protester seen using a stop sign as a battering ram, causing thousands in damage.
And hey, Robert is just one case, and Portland is just one town. But as of August 2025, the same chaos has already expanded to many cities.
This morning, new signs President Trump's expanding crackdown on crime could mean a growing National Guard presence in more big cities, already armed on the streets of Washington, D.C., with Chicago potentially next in line.
We may or may not. We may just go in and do it, which is probably what we should do. Chicago desperately needs help.
The president signing an executive order tasking his defense secretary with creating specialized National Guard units to be trained and ready to help with domestic law enforcement. Chicago's mayor pointing to a 30% drop in murders, robberies, and shootings from last year, though the city is still averaging more than 1 killing a day, with 3 homicides and 27 people shot just this weekend.
What started in Portland spread like wildfire. California saw chaos spill into the streets when ICE agents confronted a man armed with a machete. He was a Mexican national, wanted for burglary. A group of ICE agents was out in California when he showed them a machete. The camera cuts to shouting, the flash of blades, agents moving in. Within seconds, he was down and dragged away, literally in chains. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, hundreds of people are being detained every week, checked for documents, or simply taken away to detention centers until they can prove their status.
We begin tonight in Los Angeles, where Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents have intensified workplace raids, detaining more than 300 people since Friday. The arrests have drawn sustained protests outside federal buildings, now guarded by National Guard troops.
And in D.C., ICE is arrested unprecedented numbers.
Since August 7th, officers have made more than 550 arrests. They say of those, 3 are known gang members, including one who is allegedly a member of MS-13.
ICE held up these clips as proof they were cleaning up America. Dealers, machete wielders, agitators, and aliens are all swept into custody. The message was clear. Law and order was back. But inside ICE, agents whispered a very, very different story.
I think the projection of what people see who we are is wrong, and they have the misconception of we're going after people and families, and that's not true. We do targeted operations. These cases are vetted. We do going after national security threats, public safety, and we're making our community safer. So never seen it in my years before, but we have to change the language, and we have to change the dynamics and the culture.
Behind the black vans and riot shields, ICE agents themselves were cracking under orders. The directive came from the very top, Stephen Miller.
New reporting from The Atlantic sheds light on how ICE officials are reacting privately, especially to the unrealistic demands from Trump's top immigration advisor, Stephen Miller. This spring, Miller, joined by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, called ICE's top leaders to Washington and berated them in a tense meeting over low arrest numbers.
The demand, 3,000 arrests a day, every day, no exceptions.
And the pressure is taking a toll. In the words of one ICE agent, morale is in the crapper.
For starters, veteran officers were angry that the most serious cases were being abandoned in an effort to make many arrests as quickly as possible.
Another longtime officer complained that Miller's fixation on daily arrest numbers is forcing serious agents to abandon serious criminal cases. No drug cases, no human trafficking, no child exploitation.
Yeah, those were the words of an ICE agent. He also said this.
A longtime ICE employee is thinking about quitting rather than having to continue, quote, arresting gardeners.
The pressure pushed agents into darker tactics, skipping due process and racing deportations. Many of these are unjustified and, as critics argue, based on skin color more than actual charges.
33-year-old Isaac Dominguez admitting he did fake throw a bottle at federal agents while they were conducting their operation Saturday, which he believes made him a target.
I did pump fake the bottle, and the agent then pointed me out of the whole crowd, right? And chased me.
This video shows several federal agents trying to detain Dominguez and shooting off tear gas. Dominguez maintains he was not attacking the agents.
They were saying that I assaulted a federal agent, but after going over the video, I didn't assault anybody.
You guys leave!
They're violating all kind of civil rights, man. You know, I've always been one to, and not to sound like a hero, but I've always been one to stand up for the little guy. And it being close to home, that being my people, I felt, I didn't even think, I had to do something about it.
Once in custody, Dominguez says he was taken to a holding point in Santa Ana, then released after about 6 hours with no paperwork, no court date, and no word on potential charges filed.
The Washington Post says federal immigration officers may deport immigrants with as little as 6 hours' notice to countries other than their own, even if officials have not provided any assurances that the new arrivals will be safe from persecution or torture. So the mission shifted from law enforcement to raw numbers, and as morale collapsed, desperation began to shape ICE's every move. What came next in Portland would prove even harsher.
In Norwalk, Connecticut, that was a taser. The victim ran when the masked men refused to identify themselves.
This is Norwalk, Connecticut.
This month, Portland's ICE facility became less an office than a nightly theater. Crowds pressed against barricades, megaphones blaring, and neighbors suing Portland or being unable to sleep for weeks. Meanwhile, agents staged their counter show with smoke and flashbangs. The air filled with gas, but the protesters wouldn't back away. In fact, more came to film and scream police brutality.
What did they do? What did they do? What did they do?
TikTok streams turned the arrests viral. Protesters shouted that they knew the agents' faces, promising to make sure they'd be exposed. But that's exactly the kind of thing they call doxing and add to your list of charges.
You know your faces. I know how you look. I know what you were wearing. I do not forget a face.
Protesters are getting grabbed mid-feed.
Get on the ground. Now, on the ground.
All right, but you're not
on the ground.
I got rights to talk, bro.
Got no right here.
Others start filming when they get arrested, just to show the world how brutal Trump's task force really is.
News 4 cameras were rolling as a U.S. Park police officer and a D.C. police officer questioned a driver on the National Mall. The D.C. police officer opened the door and the driver got out. He appeared to try to escape, and that's when several masked agents tackled him to the ground. The man yelling repeatedly he hadn't done anything and saying he works and wants to be here with his family. At one point, 6 men could be seen kneeling on the ground over the man as he continued to scream.
Some make it to detention centers bruised and in shock, but to some of them, this becomes a twisted badge of honor. ICE calls them rioters. Their supporters call them defenders.
My son is a lifelong Quaker who has a long track record of pacifism. He is a deeply gentle, loving spirit.
Outside courtrooms, parents and neighbors gathered with handmade signs.
I am so proud of him, and I am also quite scared right now.
For some, the protest became a question of democracy. Were these young people criminals, or were they political prisoners? Debates raged online, the clips fueling both sides. Supporters said ICE was cleaning up America. Critics said Portland was proof of authoritarian creep.
I think this is a part of their strategy and is particularly just mean and cruel.
Either way, Trump's team had engineered it. They wanted that debate, and they got it. But the cost was still climbing.
Can you tell us what he's been charged with?
Mi familia tiene papeles. Mi familia y mis hijos. Por favor. Por favor.
For a while, the Portland crackdown was taken as local theater. But now, experts warn it's policy in real time. Every arrest tested the limits of Trump's immigration playbook. And now, it's all getting tested, as human rights activists and lawmakers are saying detainees' rights are getting violated in a big way.
They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans, 32 detainees per cage. That is the only thing inside those cages are their bunk beds, and there are 3 tiny toilets.
Agents joked bitterly about Alligator Alcatraz. That's the Florida detention camp described by this lawmaker. She says it's nothing less than an internment camp.
This is an appalling, outrageous environment to detain anyone.
For Trump's base, the message was deterrence. Make it so frightening, people would self-deport before ICE even knocked. For Portland's protesters, the message was dissent itself could land you in chains. And that's the final question. Was Portland just a city under siege? Or was it the first draft of a permanent ICE state? Because if names could be plucked from live streams and college albums today, what happens tomorrow when the list gets longer?